Hello, my name is Sharina Almeida, and I will be narrating on behalf of Group 13. We are presenting on the new implementation of parent-controlled analgesia and a 24/7 referral service at the Big Bang Children's Medical Center. The Big Bang Children's Medical Center, or BBCMC, is a nationally ranked pediatric center. The services there include medical, surgical, transplant, and specialty care. Historically, patient satisfaction has been at a 90th percentile when benchmarked against other children's hospitals, but in recent quarters it has dropped to the 40th percentile. Patient satisfaction has decreased due to pain treatment scores throughout the hospital. Overall, there's a disconnect between nurses and other hospital staff and patients concerning pain management. As a result of the most recent patient satisfaction scores, BBCMCC's medical chief and chief operating officer created the pain management team. The co-directors are Penny, a clinical nurse specialist, and Dr. Leonard Hofstetter, a pediatric anesthesiologist. Their overall goal was to improve pain management satisfaction scores and develop a 24/7 referral service that can be used by healthcare providers, patients, and families alike to report underreported pain. They also aim to collaborate with key stakeholders to promote agreement about effective pain treatment. Other key players were included from multiple disciplines and leadership positions. These members, as you will see in future slides, were key in forming the interdisciplinary task force needed to create the momentum for change. Berwick's model for change best matched the culture at BBCMC. Therefore, it was used to implement the new pain management plan. The first step of the Berwick model is finding sound innovations. In this step, work is focused on creating a formal interface between the healthcare organization and the adoption of evidence-based practice. Berwick's second step is finding and supporting innovators. Innovators are people that have a fascination with novelty and can tolerate risk. Although they are typically socially disconnected and not opinion leaders, they are an integral group to support evidence-based practice and initiate change. The third step is invest in early adopters. Early adopters are a large group of opinion leaders. They are well connected socially and accepted. They communicate with others, including innovators, and drive momentum to support change. Berwick's fourth step, make early adopter activity observable, aims to promote the results of early adopters as they are generated. In this way, the rest of the organization may better understand and acknowledge the outcomes from someone they trust. Berwick's fifth action step is to trust and enable reinvention. In order for change to be successful, it needs to be adopted locally as well as adapted locally. Changes in one unit might need to be adapted for another unit to align with patient acuity or staffing levels. This local adaptation is essential in order for change to be supported across units. The sixth action step is creating slack for change. Berwick recognized that innovation takes time, money, and energy. Adjustments in plan protocol may be necessary when unforeseen obstacles are met. Berwick's final action step is lead by example. Leaders that expect change need to commit and endorse the change, respect diversity in the change, and advocate for its broader adoption. On the following slide is a clip of Donald Berwick in which he talks about how a system can be organized for improvement.
When I first came into contact with modern improvement theory, there was a way I understood it and taught it, which I now think was wrong. It was that organizations have to house an improvement subsystem, a quality council, or an array of projects. So it was like the organization would do its work, and by the way, there was this department that would work on improvement. And maybe that was right for the early phases of this movement, but now I don't believe that at all, because improving stuff, everything, it's either in the nature of the system, deeply embedded genetic code, or it isn't likely to get to scale or to speed that you need it. It'd be like imagining a kid. Remember, I'm a pediatrician, a kid who, part of who is developing. Well, no, the whole kid develops. And the same goes for organizations. So now I see the system of improvement as being nothing less than the mapping of improvement approaches, methods, thinking into every level of an organization in daily work. It's in the nature of the place. Every time the board meets, it's looking at the next hills that are going to be taken and whether the resources exist for doing that and whether there's a plan for capacitation of the staff and whether the customers have voice and whether we've linked it to the business case. Every executive, every day, showing up in the morning is thinking about what's getting better in the organization that day and what does she or he have to do to help support the groups or teams that are working on it. Every employee, everywhere in the organization, understands that they can be part of improvement all the time. There's always an opportunity to improve daily work, formally or informally. Every manager, especially middle managers, understand their job is to coach and help, bring in the voice of the patient and family, make sure the staff have the permission and the knowledge to improve what they do, getting the data and making sure the data are being used immediately in real time to guide, plan, do, study, act cycles. It's just daily work, and that's what a system of improvement looks like today.
The work plan that was implemented at BBCMC was based on Berwick's 7 action steps with a few minor changes. Since we envisioned the new pain management project would likely involve successful collaborations among people from various backgrounds and disciplines, we felt we needed to evolve the original work plan to first create an environment that is conducive to collaborative practice. Therefore, before we initiated Berwick's first action step, we needed to make a few institutional changes to implement and promote interprofessional collaboration, or IPC. The pain management team met and collaborated with hospital administrators such as Medical Chief Stuart Bloom and Chief Operating Officer Leslie Winkle to strategize and build upon current institutional guidelines and policies to create an environment that recognizes and supports a collaborative practice. This was done by promoting clear governance models, renewing institutional protocols, creating shared operating procedures, and modifying policies that incorporate and support IPC. The next steps of the work plan began with finding sound innovations. The pain management team began to review BBCMC's current pain management protocols and initiated a literature review to identify best practices for the pain management of children. Once sufficient data was gathered, they recruited an interdisciplinary team or task force of innovators. This task force included the Nurse Managers Group, Howard Wolowitz, Bernadette Rostenkowski, Sheldon Cooper, and Raj Kuthrapalli. In-person meetings took place that combined the evidence that was gathered from the literature and the ideas and input from the interdisciplinary team until a common goal was decided and supported by all. A new pain management plan that focused around parent-controlled analgesia with the addition of a 24/7 referral service was created, outlined, and planned. The next steps of the work plan included investing in early adopters and making early adopter activity observable. The task force of innovators recruited and trained a select team of nurse educators, managers, and leaders, and promoted them as early adopters. These individuals were chosen specifically because they value evidence-based interventions and are in ideal position to influence others to adopt change. A small pilot study consisting of 4 nurses who were early adopters was implemented and completed on the orthosurgical unit. The results of the pilot study were gathered and made observable through personal socialization, PowerPoint presentations, email updates, and poster bulletins. In this way, a culture of change was successfully created by the early adopters so that the new pain management plan could be adopted and supported by the early majority. With a culture of change established, the task force and early adopters were able to influence the early majority to adopt the new pain management plan. With the momentum that was created, the use of parent-controlled analgesia and the 24/7 referral service was put into practice unit-wide. The progress of the new pain management plan on the orthosurgical unit was analyzed and evaluated by the pain management team and discussed with the task force to identify barriers. For the barriers that were identified, adjustments in the protocol were made and new timeframes were created accordingly. Once benchmarks were recognized on the orthosurgical unit, the protocol was implemented hospital-wide. BBCMC was able to lead by example by being transparent in their successes and failures of the new pain management project. Project outcomes were analyzed and shared with others, and the new pain management protocol was made visible for all to adopt. Our team knew that progress was being made through the following evidences of success. These benchmarks are all measurable as they evaluate the progress of the new protocols. The first benchmark specifically focuses on interprofessional collaboration and measured attendance at all interactions. The Registered Nurses Association of Ontario stresses that IPC relies on the universal agreement of an evidence-based approach in planning, implementing, and evaluating joint activities. This can be accomplished through advantageous attendance and subsequent participation by the team. We feel that the interprofessional team met this benchmark successfully. Berwick's third action step, investing in early adopters, involves supplying them with the tools they need to succeed. By doing so, Berwick states that successful implementation will be more likely. Infrastructure and education for the 24/7 referral service was coordinated by the pain management team, Penny and Dr. Hofstetter. Accordingly, the orthosurgical unit was properly equipped for the pilot program, and 100% of the staff on the unit received education by July 14, 2018. Berwick's fourth action step, make early adopter activity observable, was achieved through measuring improvements in the pain management satisfaction scores and disseminating these improvements to the early majority. Pain management satisfaction scores increased to 68% by the end of the pilot study, and then increased to 72% by the orthosurgical unit. These results were communicated to the early majority through various methods previously outlined in the work plan, such as email updates and bulletins. After communicating the successes of the early majority, the following action steps in the Berwick model ensured that change would continue to grow. In BBCMCC's case, parent-controlled analgesia and the 24/7 referral service was implemented throughout the hospital. A final evaluation by Penny and Dr. Hofstetter took place on December 1st, 2018, and found that pain management satisfaction scores had risen to the 70th percentile. To be sure that this change would continue to reinvent itself throughout BBCMC, adherence to the new parent-controlled analgesia protocol was measured by the nurse managers group on each of their respective units. Unfortunately, adherence did not reach 100% for all staff, but it did reach 90%. This is a good start, but there's also room for improvement. Scheduling constraints for training and education, financial resources, and staff resistance were the most significant barriers to the adherence rates. Likewise, the 24/7 referral service responded to alerts within 2 hours for 90% of all occurrences within this time frame. Although an impressive outcome, staffing was a barrier which limited response times. An increase in staffing would likely improve this response rate and is addressed in further steps. Advocacy throughout the new pain management plan was vital to the success of our project. Since our project was based in a pediatric hospital, the care team focused advocacy campaigns around pediatric patients and their families. Because children are often intimidated or scared in a hospital setting, we understood it was the responsibility of the interdisciplinary team to not cross the thin line of medical paternalism and advocacy. Therefore, it was critical to identify the wants and needs of patients and families first in order for advocacy to be effective. Advocacy began with the formation of the interdisciplinary task force, According to Berwick, innovations are most successful when trusted leaders incorporate the changes. Thus, Penny, Leonard, Amy, Raj, and Bernadette were selected to lead our advocacy campaigns. The interdisciplinary team focused its advocacy campaigns around involving the utilization of an upstream approach to pain analgesia. It was found in the literature review that unresolved anxiety and stress from home and/or school situations were some psychosocial contributors of heightened pain during hospitalization. These factors were then assessed by bedside nurses during the pilot study and found that they were partly responsible for increased pain scores. Holistic nursing interventions that address these factors were vital to achieve the project outcome of improved pain scores. Along with the contribution and collaboration of the interdisciplinary team, members like social work, case management, and occupational therapy, parents were also included as an integral part of the team. They were educated at the bedside and included in pain management plan to take more of an active role in promoting their child's management of pain. In order to achieve an improvement in pain management on a national scale, advocacy outreach was broadened by contracting outside pediatric hospitals. The advocacy team reached out to outside hospitals from all across the country regarding their new pain management protocols and services. Through their collaborations with outside hospitals regarding their pain management policies, BBCMC learned what works and what doesn't with other patient populations. Collaboration brought new information on how other hospitals integrated PCAs, IPE, and IPC projects. Penny and Dr. Hofstetter then organized a pediatric pain management conference, which brought pediatric analgesia experts from all over the country. The conference created an opportunity for BBCMC to lead by example. They were able to present the outcomes that were generated to guide decisions and help develop future best practices. Social media was also an incredibly useful tool for supporting social advocacy and reaching a broader audience. We were able to advertise our patient outcomes on BBCMC's social media pages. Penny started the social media campaign for the parent-controlled analgesia and 24/7 referral service using BBCMC's social media platform. Information regarding our project reached other pediatric nurses and members of the healthcare field through our social media campaign on Twitter and Instagram. Penny informed BBCMC nursing managers and leaders about two hashtags, hashtag #PainPainGoAway and hashtag PedRNProPCA. We encouraged them to post on Instagram posts and tweets. We were able to generate over 1,000 posts that collectively helped promote the initiative. After implementing Berwick's model and seeing pain management scores increase to 68%, we hope to sustain that and continue to increase our scores by another 20% over the next year. This can be accomplished by overcoming the previously mentioned barriers. We aim to convince Stuart Bloom and Leslie Winkle that it is BBCMC's financial interest to invest in more equipment and staff. Also, we will make meetings compulsory by staggering and hosting multiple meeting sessions throughout a given month. This makes attendance more flexible and available to staff. Berwick's model provided detailed action steps or rules for how to affect change. The 7 rules for dissemination of innovation allowed for innovations to proceed in a stepwise manner. This small-scale fashion was essential in order to work through potential problems before implementation on other units. With multiple units involved in having varying needs, resources, and services, these carefully thought-out steps enabled all involved to take into account the processes unique to each unit, with progress towards the final goal. Implementation began on a small scale and increased to a larger setting as greater awareness and progress was generated. The collaborative process involved the task force members from multiple disciplines, allowing for a more well-rounded work plan to yield better health services and improve patient outcomes. The use of Berwick's model for change was well aligned for implementing parent-controlled analgesia and the 24/7 referral service at the Big Bang Children's Medical Center. This model fits the needs of the medical center as it allows for steady growth and development through a series of steps by way of interprofessional collaboration and education. The results yielded a marked increase in unit-wide patient and parent-controlled perception satisfaction scores and improved pain management. The collective effort of all members of the task force allowed for a successful transformation at BBCMC using the Berwick model for change. Thank you very much.